All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live recording of the Managing Partners podcast. My name is Kevin Daisy, and I'll be your host. And I'm also the founder of Array Digital. We help law firms grow through digital marketing. So if you have any questions, any issues, please reach out and give us a call. Today, I have a special guest coming in from Wilmington, North Carolina, not too far from us here in Virginia. So great to have someone on from that area. I don't believe we've had a firm on from the Wilmington area. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I got to look a little bit into Mark prior. He's got a great kind of an introduction video for each of the members on the team there on his website, which was helpful for me, and I think should be helpful for others that don't know them yet and are considering doing business with them, have a need for their family. It gets you to see the person on the other side and get to know them. So I think that's important for websites these days and for any kind of marketing. So Mark, I got to learn a little bit, but of course our guests here are about to. If you're tuning in right now, you can go check out the website, ricefamilylaw.com at the bottom of the screen, or just ricefamilylaw.com if you're listening. Go take a look and see what they're all about. Again, we always encourage referrals, referral partners, other attorneys in different areas. Maybe you got a referral, you can send over Mark's way and vice versa. Or if you're just looking for assistance and think Mark is someone you can reach out to that could help you in your journey to starting your own practice or just being an attorney in general. So Mark, you guys practice in family law, but we'll get to that just in a second. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Kind of your background growing up, and we'll get to some more business questions here in a minute.
Sure. So I was born and raised in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Both my parents were public school teachers, and I swore I would never go into education because I saw how hard they worked and how little they got paid. And then I wound up working in higher education for about 14 years with KPMG Pete Marwick out of Washington, D.C., helping a number of institutions of higher education as a consultant throughout the U.S., working with federal financial aid. And I basically was at the University of North Carolina at Wilmington and had gotten as far as I could in my career when my boss pulled me aside and said, "You need an earned doctorate." And I said, "Okay, well, can I get any doctorate?" And he said, "Sure." And I said, "Well, I've always wanted to go to law school." So I went to law school late in life. I was, I guess, about 30. And I loved law school. I was the old guy who laughed at the professor's jokes. And
dad jokes.
Exactly. And when I got out, the plan was to go back into higher ed, but I found I really loved practicing law, so I ended up here instead.
Interesting. So that kind of went sideways on, I guess, recommending that to you. So tell us a little bit, so you went to school not thinking you wanted to be an attorney, but you did that. So what was the transition from that to where you are now? Did you work at other law firms to kind of get your feet wet? Did you go right into practicing for yourself? Did you partner up with the firm here? What was that like?
Well, it's interesting. My ex-wife was going through a child custody battle while I was married to her, and we had hired Charles Rice to represent her in that. So I knew him when I was in higher education, and when I got out of law school, I came to him and said, I'd really like to practice law with you, but I don't want to be an employee. I'm older, I'm established, and he laughed and said, well, cool, I don't have any money to pay employees. And so he had been a former chief district court judge, and is a great attorney. He's now deceased, but
he passed away in 2019.
he did. And we really complemented each other well. I had a background in finance and some business, and he kind of sucked at that, quite frankly. I mean, when I became his partner, he had probably $500,000 in accounts receivables. And
wow.
He was a great lawyer. He'd go win his cases, but rarely get paid. And so I helped bring a business focus to the firm and began running it while he mentored me on the law. And so I took over the business aspects, and he taught me the law, and it became a really good partnership.
That is really cool. And I think, that's a huge kind of takeaway here, and anyone listening. But what I hear time and time again, I've spoke to lots of attorneys, and not the ones that are just clients, but ones that are on the show, lots of them. And most attorneys aren't business owners when they come out. They're attorneys, and they know the law. And I think the ones that do well get the business aspect, or they at least know they have to figure that part out. And there's lots of firms out there that, are sole proprietors that never grow beyond that because they just don't have that business side figured out. And not that you should, but I think that's an important part you brought to the table. You can be a good attorney, but if you can't manage things and collect money on time and have processes in place, then you're not going to do too well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Excellent. So when was that when you joined the firm and became a partner there?
Well, that would have been 2005, I guess. So I've been practicing for 16 plus years.
Excellent.
And it's so true. I remember one of the first things we implemented was we had to get paid up front, because what we found is that particularly family law clients, once you're done with their case, they don't need you anymore, and they rarely will pay you. And if you try to pursue a collection action, they're just going to give you a negative review.
Yeah. And then you probably got to spend a lot in legal fees yourself just to maybe collect it.
Exactly. So we went strictly to a policy of, if you have money in trust, we're working for you. If you don't, then we're filing a motion withdrawal.
Yeah, I think that's excellent. I mean, that's so just kind of quick backstory. I don't want to take up the show myself, but I used to do website development and design and websites, and we used to always do things where we collect the money at 30 days or 60 days or 90 days or whatever. But now, I mean, we switched to a completely paid up front model years ago. And some people think we're insane or crazy and that won't work, but we have 70 clients that pay us on a monthly basis for the month coming, versus we used to always do it a month behind.
Sure.
And then of course, clients like, well, now I can pay like a little bit late or 60 days or whatever. And then you're sitting there paying for employees, staff, your space, tools, software, whatever it may be, electric. And so basically you're loaning them money at that point. So we switched to that, and it's been changed our lives as far as how we could grow the business and take care of our people, our employees, and actually focus on helping the clients, because we're not worried about how we're going to pay for things. So kudos for you on that one. That's huge. And so you basically charge up front. You said something about trust. So tell me more about what you just said to me about how you, I guess, how you approach the clients when they come to you and they ask you about your fees or how you price things.
Sure. Well, that was back then. We worked on a traditional retainer model where funds were held in trust and we billed against them. thanks to an attorney in Charlotte named Bill Deal, who sued the North Carolina State Bar, we've changed our model now, and we work off what's called a minimum fee contract. So if a new client comes in and it's going to be litigation, we just charge them $7,500 up front. We earn that immediately. And we're required by the bar then to pledge to provide services up to that level.
Got it.
Once it hits that level, it converts to an hourly basis where we do get money in trust. But we, that has really changed our lives. Charles Rice had a great reputation. Our law firm, I think, has a great reputation now. We're one of the better family law firms, and people want to pay for that.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you get into this mentality where you think, that's a lot of money. I can't charge for that. If I charge more, people are going to go away. And I think back to my days when I worked for KPMG Pete Marwick, the partner I worked for there, Dan Hamlin, he made like $5 million a year. and he used to point blank boast that we were the most expensive consulting firm in the United States, and you get what you pay for. And his attitude was, we're going to be the Ritz-Carlton, we're going to provide best-in-class service, and we're going to charge the most. And that's really the model I've adopted for the law firm, is we hold ourselves to a high standard, and we're going to charge a decent amount of money. Whereas there's competitors we have here who are always complaining about chasing clients for money, and they're cheaper, but they've got double the clients, and they can't, in my opinion, service that client as well because they don't have the revenue flow to provide great service.
Nope, 100%. And they have, a lower level client that can, they're going to probably have more problems with versus someone that can pay that. And there's a lot of divorce attorneys that I've talked to. And I have clients like this too. Like some are on like the pro bono, want to help everyone that can't afford attorneys. And it sounds like a lot of this craziness and horror stories, but that's what they prefer to do. And then I have some that are high-end divorce case only, high net worth, and they stay there and they say, hey, that's where they'd rather be and be putting their time and energy. So, you got to charge what you're worth, and it's hard to run things and take care of yourself and your family and provide a good service if you're not making any money. So I think it's a good idea.
Exactly. Sorry for the noise. We're in a downtown historic building in Wilmington, and they've been remodeling a house beside us for over a year. So we live with the Sauls. We're used to it. But
that's fine. No big deal. Well, that's good. I mean, improvement. So, no, anyway, so I think that makes a ton of sense. I think you guys should stick with that, and you'll see, again, like the firm down the street, they might be charging less or half, and they're chasing clients. They have double the clients, and they're probably making less money. So, again, you can't give as good of a service if you have twice the clients to deal with. And again, we do the same kind of thing. We charge a premium sometimes, but we're giving everything we can, and we build in services that most agencies might not, but we have to charge accordingly to do that. So I think it makes all the sense in the world, and it's the right way to go. So, and again, you have family, you have employees, people that need to be taken care of just as much as anyone else. So, what are some of the things that you've done that's really helped you with marketing to gain clients, to have people give you a call or reach out? What's worked well for the firm there?
It's changed over time. I remember back in when the housing bubble was bursting, and there were families that wanted to get divorced but couldn't afford to. And there was actually some law firms in town that went out of business because they just didn't have clients. And we adapted. So whereas we used to focus only in 2 or 3 counties, suddenly we decided, we would provide services throughout the state and go anywhere. As long as we got paid, we'd go anywhere. And that's an example of adapting to the market that enabled us to thrive, quite frankly. Made us better lawyers because we started learning how things are done in other jurisdictions, other venues, and sometimes better, quite frankly.
Oh, nice.
And then, other things, the videos that, like you mentioned, we spoke with a high-end firm out of Atlanta that makes promotional videos, and I looked at them and I thought, wow, these are great. We got a quote from them and I thought, whoa, I just can't afford this.
When you said high end out of Atlanta, and I was like, yeah, it's probably going to be pretty pricey.
Very pricey. I think they wanted $50,000 for 10 videos. And my daughter is in a master's degree in film. And so I called her and said, hey, can you make some videos? And of course, I didn't tell her what the Atlanta firm was getting, but we paid her a much smaller amount, and she's been making us videos. Those videos have helped bring clients because they're
excellent.
Educational rather than promotional. And I find that clients really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So that's brought us business. Last year, we signed up with a company where we can do targeted email marketing. And I really like that. It's a good CRM system where we can keep data on people.
Oh, nice.
And we don't just use it for prospective clients. We even use it, for example, North Carolina requires we give notice of secured leave 3 months in advance.
Okay. So you can send out notices and emails and stuff like that?
Yeah. So we have a database where they're marked as attorneys that we have cases against. And so when we send out a secured leave notice, the system does that. And it's just better than like mass emails.
Yeah. Well, what's the system that you're using?
That's called Levitate.
Levitate. Okay. Never heard of that one. So there you guys, everyone listening, Levitate, maybe it can help you out too. And so what do you, second thing, what do you do for like case management and things like that? Do you use a software or a platform?
We use a program called Action Step.
Action Step. Okay. And
absolutely love it. We used to use Amicus, and when Amicus got bought out by a competitor, we started to become unhappy with the direction that it was taking. So we looked at a lot of them, really like Clio, but Clio didn't have accounting within it, and Action Step does. So we do our trust accounting, billing, everything, client documents, everything in Action Step, and have really loved that program.
Excellent. Well, thanks for sharing that. So I saw too, like with your Facebook, and this is for law firms out there, especially in the family space, not usually exciting to get people to follow you on Facebook or any social media, but you guys have, when I looked, I think around 4,600 followers or something like that on Facebook, which is really strong for a local firm like you guys in North Carolina. So what has that been like? What's worked for you? Do you outsource that? Do you do it in-house? What's some of the social media tips you could give maybe for what's worked for you guys to get a following like that?
You said that you used to build websites. I actually used to do that back in 1997. I used to build websites for financial aid offices, and it was their first website. They never had one before. for, and I coded it in HTML.
I was around that time, 2000-ish or so. I was doing it as a freelancer. Yeah, that's awesome.
So when I first came on with Rise, I would sit at home and code website pages. And of course, we had WYSIWYG to do it then.
Yeah.
But a lot of that stuff I've done myself. Haven't really outsourced it. Things I can't do, CSS, stuff like that, we've outsourced. That's just beyond my capabilities. But would like to do more of that. I just don't have the time. And we actually have been looking for a social media partner that we could use to promote that more.
Yeah.
Some of the more, I guess, non-traditional or unconventional approaches is our people are willing to share their lives. So like I have a TikTok account, and it's not really a law firm TikTok account. It's my personal TikTok account. And I have interest in farming and goats and chickens and boxers and mulching and all kinds of stuff, wood mills, sawmills. And
I want to follow you right now, just after hearing all that.
and when I share it, some of that relates back to the law firm, and it will indirectly bring interest.
That's awesome. Well, that's good. I mean, someone sitting here running a law firm, it's great that you're getting on some of those platforms, especially like the ones that are new or up and coming. And I think there's a lot of firms that stay away from that stuff, and they don't think it's going to work, or they just don't want to do it or have the time to do it. But I agree with you. I think, I have Instagram, and I think I have a TikTok. I don't really mess with that too much yet, but most of my stuff is family or adventure type stuff. I like backpacking and snowboarding and boating and fishing. And so most of my stuff has nothing to do with, with what we do. But I tie that in obviously somehow here and there, because that's part of my life too. So, you'll see like me and you interviewing probably on my social media at some point one day, and then I'm off, snowboarding with family, or, doing something around the house. I do a lot of woodworking and stuff like that too. So I think it's great to do that.
To me, that just brings a genuineness to the social media. It's not all about promoting.
Yeah.
It's just about being real. One of the things we did maybe April at the beginning of the pandemic, I had this idea thinking about like the famine in Africa, when they got together and sang, "We Are the World," to do something along that line with local divorce attorneys related to COVID. And so I contacted 7 or 8 of our main competitors in town and pitched this idea that we would do a joint video about COVID and how we could support the community as family law attorneys. And it turned out pretty neat. It got—
I need to look that up.
I don't remember how many views it got, but there was a crazy number of views. And that really wasn't done for promotion. It was done in part for fun.
That's super cool. So where can someone find that? Is that on your TikTok or up on YouTube, Facebook?
And it may be on the website, but I know it's on the Facebook.
Okay. So yeah, if you got YouTube channel. Yeah, if anyone goes over to their website, their social media is linked all at the bottom there, so you can take a look and find that video. I'm going to go ahead and try to find it after this myself. But it's just so social media, how it works, and I think most people try to they just want followers and people that just like their stuff, but it doesn't work that way. You have to be real. You have to be genuine. They have to have some interest in even looking at your content the first place. So I think most people go all about it the wrong way and try to have this perfectly branded content, and it's all about, and it just is what it is. I think most attorneys, or even social media companies for attorneys, will post like tips for divorce and mostly just divorce related stuff, right? And it's not always going to attract anybody. Most of the time, not going to get that many views. So you got to do something out of the box, for sure. And TikTok's a great place because the amount of views and stuff you'll get compared to like a Facebook, who now you really just have to pay to really get a lot of outside engagement these days. So versus like a TikTok, you can get 100,000 views and you don't even know why.
That's true.
Yeah. Instagram Reels are kind of like that too. Well, I think it's awesome what you're doing, and getting outside of the box, and again, the following you built on Facebook, I think it's pretty amazing for a divorce law firm, a family law firm. So kudos on that. What's your plans? What's the next couple of years look like? Any big goals for the firm? Any growth ahead? Anything else you want to share?
We very much have been working on a way to franchise ourselves, if you will. I mean, not in the legal franchise sense, but I've always thought that when you spend marketing money on a geographical area, it's just crazy if it's spilling over into other areas that you can't serve.
Yeah, 100%.
And we've spent years developing a structure with the administrative resources, policies and procedures, manuals, everything in place. But what we really hope to do is attract some people who just want to practice law and go back to that old Mark Williams, Charles Rice model where I kind of provide the business sense and they be the lawyer.
Yeah.
And we would like to drop additional locations in the state and make that a reality. That's
excellent. I love that. I'll talk to you behind the scenes here when we're done, but we kind of have a similar model, and we've already done that and tested that and have some pretty good success. So we can chat about that more, but that makes a ton of sense to me. And so we've done that with our marketing agency as far as basically the same thing, but a different niche. We work with law firms with this company here. I have another brand that works with different types of businesses, but same processes, same everything. But we find the folks that are interested to not have to run their own business, but be supported with all the things that we have in place: administrative, payroll, taxes, books, everything. And so they still get an opportunity to make good money and run their own thing, but inside our system, more or less. So it's worked out pretty well, but I'm happy to talk more about that too. What's another way that people can connect with you, Mark, if they had any questions or want to learn some of the stuff that you've been doing and successfully too? Obviously the website at the bottom, ricefamilylaw.com. You can take a look at that. But if someone want to reach out to you or follow you on TikTok, what's the best way to find you?
Absolutely. Email is always good, and it's mwilliams@ricefamilylaw.com.
Okay.
You can call me on my direct line. It's 910-304-5360. I think the TikTok's definitely not professional. It's more personal, but the TikTok page, I think, is NC Divorce Lawyer.
NC Divorce Lawyer? Oh, good. That's a good one to get. I'll put this up there. Let's see. So is this right at the bottom? NC Divorce Lawyer?
I believe that's correct. I'm checking it.
We'll confirm here. But I think, again, most of our audience here is attorneys. So, check out. Okay, yeah. So check it out. I've seen a lot of attorneys, young and very old, have insane following and like 500,000 followers, and just on there talking about random stuff. Some law, some not law, some mix. but I think it's a great place to be. It's a new space to get into. And it doesn't have to be all about your business or your law firm.
It's crazy. There was a young lady getting arrested view outside my window one day, and I just took a video of it and put it on TikTok for fun, and it got over 100,000 views in a day.
Yeah, it's just crazy, huh? But it gets you exposure, right? And then people might follow you and end up seeing your other content, and it can lead to business. So it's interesting. Yeah, I guess you can't really target as much as far as who sees it and where they are, but still, most law firms, their problem is obscurity, right? They don't have the eyeballs. No one knows who they are. So I think it's great to get out there and do stuff like that. Well, Mark, anything else you want to share before we roll out of here? I appreciate you sharing everything today. I think, what you have there with your firm, the plans you have going forward are very smart. The social media that you've done and the success you've had there, the videos, I think all that's great stuff that everyone on the show here should follow. And the videos, again, are super important because they get to know, same with the social media, they get to meet you and feel like they know you. And they might not be a client right away, but once they have a problem or they have a situation and they say, hey, I've really got to feel like I know this guy and I'm going to reach out to them. And that could be for any attorney in your firm too.
Well, I just say we welcome collaboration. We learn from others, and so if there's folks listening to this that want to talk and share ideas and see how we can help each other, we would love to have that conversation.
Excellent. You all heard that. Please reach out to Mark if you feel like there's something you can talk to him about, or if you have questions, or maybe you have referrals. Reach out, connect with him, and check out what he's up to. So for everyone listening, this episode will be available. We have about almost 200 episodes up on there now at arraylaw.com/podcast. You can sort by state or by practice area or both. We've had attorneys almost in every single state, every single practice area you can imagine. So if you're looking for a specific episode that might help you, you can go and see all the divorce attorneys, for instance, or family law. Or if in a certain state, you can find people there too. This episode will be up soon on there and on our podcast. So be looking forward to seeing Mark featured out as that episode comes out. We also have the Managing Partners newsletter. Mark, you mentioned emails. We have a newsletter of about 1,000 to 1,500 attorneys and managing partners. We send out marketing tips. We feature episodes like yours here. And we also have the book club. So any attorney that's written a book, most of them have written books to help law firms operate, run, be efficient. We feature books by our guests. So there's always a book featured in the newsletter as well. So be on the lookout for that. If you're not signed up for it, you can go to our website and sign up for it. And then if you need marketing help, things like we talked about here with Mark, that's what we do. We do law firm marketing, websites. So we still do websites, Mark. It's just I don't have to do them anymore like I used to back in the day. But if you need that kind of help, reach out to us. Even if you have questions, we're happy to help guide you in the right way. So that's it, Mark.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Everyone, we'll see you soon. Mark, can you stay on for me for just a moment? We'll talk backstage for a second. We'll see you later.